sneak in here with something just real quick.
Yeah.
In general, when musicians write together and they kind of butt heads, it usually ends up being something great.
Yeah,
That's
because there's
across the board. Lennon and McCartney, Jagger and Keith Richards. There's always these people that they may not get along creatively, but when they put their ego back a little bit, they create something great. I'm a firm believer that there's almost no one on this earth that creates something fantastic totally 100% by themselves.
I would disagree with that with one example. My favorite artist of all time, my favorite guitar player, Steve Vai, who pretty much is the master of his own destiny. He's an exception.
Exceptions.
Yeah.
I'm saying usually.
You could also say Rick Wakeman, the keyboard player, used to be from Yes, and then he went off and did a bunch of solo stuff. Same idea. He has like tons and tons of great solo content.
Right, but look at it this way. Okay, you named Steve Vai or even Frank Zappa is another good example.
Yeah, that's another good example.
But he was like, okay, this is what I want to do, and if you say no, you're out the door. But a lot of musicians who may take the sole credit of writing and producing or something fantastic, they also bounce ideas off of people. And sometimes, like if I bounce an idea off of you and you're like, that isn't that great, I may take that into consideration, be like, okay, maybe what I'm trying to do, I do it this way. Here's a good example of someone who surrounds himself with yes men. George Lucas surrounded himself with yes men. And look what happened. Okay? Look what happened.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
right. And I don't know enough about what happened behind the scenes with a lot of my favorite Steve Vai records.
Right.
But maybe that was part of the process where he ran stuff by maybe his significant other or by other musicians, and then went back to the drawing board and reworked a bunch of stuff over and over again. Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean,
remember, like
he's the exception, though. Really, I mean,
yeah, because he's really just an all-encompassing musician in a lot of respects.
I think writing or creating anything artistic, whether it be writing a movie or a song or anything like that, anything creative, I personally believe it's better to have a couple people that you could work things off of, and you not having 100% control. Because when you do, chances are, sometimes it is great. A lot of times it's lesser than when you don't have the power to surround yourself with yes men,
Mm-hmm. Say that because it feels like it's just the popular opinion to just poop all over Blaze Bayley. Like, oh, he's just a terrible singer. And I'm sure he's a great singer in other mediums, but he just wasn't really a good fit for Iron Maiden, I think. He had such a lower baritone range, and I feel like it took so much of the magic away. Because even Paul Di'Anno, talking about the singers briefly, he doesn't have quite as high of a range as Bruce. I mean, there are some exceptions. Like, you look at something like Twilight Zone on Killers, where he's hitting these, like, crazy high rocks.
Yeah, he does these
awesome.
Yeah, real high.
But that's not really his normal.
Reels.
He doesn't do it as consistently as Bruce does.
No.
But so, like, more consistently speaking, like, Di'Anno's like kind of like right in that mid range. So I feel like that's the biggest reason that Bailey just doesn't contribute really well to Maiden's overall sound, and it's really a shame, because I really think the X Factor is one of their more underrated albums that should get more recognition, because it has a lot of really awesome writing in it. And when those songs come through in the Reformation era, once they got Bruce back, those songs really just have that extra injection of adrenaline, and they really come to life. And I forgot that's like, they're like the Klansmen. Like, I forgot, because I listened to that album once and I hated it. But there were those brief moments where, that song actually has a lot of potential, and it's really cool to see them shine through. And I feel like it's so easy to say this as well, like with the Reformation era, but like when you look at something like Brave New World, like it really is like this grand culmination of everything the band has been up to that point, because they kind of jumped around when they were genre hopping in the 80s. And then in the 90s, we had that whole thing happen. And then by the time like 99, 2000 hit and Brave New World, like it's I think a big part of it is the three guitarists, because you have Yannick where after Adrian left and they tried some different things. You have Adrian coming back, who was always a big writer. It was even on Killers, I think he wrote one or two of those songs on that album on his first debut with the band. There's there's a really great documentary you can find on YouTube if you literally just search the history of Iron Maiden. I think that's what it's called. And it's like a 3-part thing, and it goes into really extensive detail of the whole history of the band, even like before their first album, like the real early like mid-70s stuff, like where they were just like this like underground band in the UK, and before they even
you can also get that on DVD too.
Yeah, I didn't know. Oh, I should definitely get that.
I think the first part's called The Early Days.
Yeah,
I have it somewhere.
Mhm.
There was one before that called 12 Wasted Years that I got back when I was young. It was on VHS tape.
Wow.
It was on VHS tape. I bought it when I was still in high school because I think the band was only together for 12 years at that time. So it's called 12 Wasted Years, and it was their story. And a lot of it is in that Early Days DVD, but there was some stuff that isn't in it that was in this old VHS tape. So it's their story pretty much from the beginning up until right before they released Seventh Son.
Oh,
so yeah, it's I don't know if you can probably find it on YouTube somewhere. I doubt I still have the VHS. If I do, it probably doesn't play. But I used to watch that all the time, especially when I stayed home from school sick. 12 Wasted Years would always go in. I'd always watch that. It's a great documentary. It's very close to the early years. It's pretty much the same thing. I don't think it's as long, though, or detailed.
That Paul would eventually go on to make another band called Killers in the 90s. And we talked about their album Murder One. So I just gave that a listen earlier this week.
Oh, yeah?
No, I'm not done with it yet, but like that sound of Paul is exactly what he sounds like in Killers in Maiden, 82 or 81, whenever it came out.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, it's got to be his voice. He did something with his voice, and I really like it. And so I was looking up, of course, like some interviews with him, like on his departure from the band and all this kind of stuff, and him saying like he's like, I'm mainly like a punk singer, but I think I do metal better than most metal singers. And I think there's some truth to that for sure.
Your generation trying to turn my generation on to some of the new metal stuff.
Yeah, it's part of it. I think is just the generation gap, where like you're gonna just be into the stuff you grew up with, and stuff that the next generation grew up with is just something about it just doesn't compare.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to do that, but I mean, a lot of the, and then we're just going off on a tangent now, but a lot of the new metal stuff, when it came out, I was like, I didn't get it. Now I'm a little bit, it's easier for me to digest it now that we're 20 years from that new metal craze.
Now you can kind of go back with a fair, objective lens and like it's for what it is.
I don't like to say anything is a guilty pleasure, but Disturbed is my guilty pleasure.
Oh, I
absolutely love that band.
They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I have no guilt or shame in admitting that. David Draymond is one of the best metal singers out there. I think he's a fantastic writer and lyricist. I love that.
He should probably sing for a metal band, though, a better metal band. He'd sing for a power metal band. That would be cool.
He would be awesome in a power metal band.
Because there'd be riffs, there'd be solos.
There definitely is a big disconnect between Draymond and the rest of the band, and not to knock the rest of the band. Dan Donegan is a fantastic guitar player and writer, and he's really kind of come into his own in later albums. You don't hear it in The Sickness. You don't even hear it in Believe when they tried some more like complicated stuff. But like it really comes through the album that got me really turned on to Disturbed was 10,000 Fists, their third album. That was right when I started listening to them. That came out, and I picked it up. And that was also at the same time that Dimebag Darrell died. And unbeknownst to me, Darrell was a big influence on Dan Donegan. So like,
he could hear it. Yeah, he could hear it. Yeah.
And you can really hear it, especially in 10,000 Fists. There's like so many of the songs are packed with solos, like where like Dan Donegan really comes out and like writes all these really nice, beautiful, intricate guitar solos in the spirit of Dimebag Darrell. And that was like what did it for me. I was like, wow, I think he's underrated. A lot of people are like, he just kind of does some like simple, chunky new metal kind of stuff. But he can really play and he can really write. And I think that band kind of gets a bad rap. And I don't know if it's because of Dave Draymond or if it's because of other reasons. If
you want to talk about like bands that came out in that new metal age of horribleness that actually are decent.
I'm all about that stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because I don't think there was a lot. You got Slipknot, you got Disturbed.
About it.
Who else? Is there anyone else?
Well, those are the two.
Drowning Pool has one song, and it's a stupid song about counting.
Yeah.
You know, like there was a lot of generic stuff, a lot of generic stuff. You know, and that's what I hated about it. You know, but we agree with Disturbed, kind of. I don't think he's that good of a guitar player as you say, but I mean, whatever. I think the drummer's really good. Drummer's really good.
The drummer is really good.
He's real tight because everything, you know, when I watch the stuff, like when they do it live, and I watch the stuff, him and the guitar player and the bass player are like, they're right there.
It's
you know, a lot of that stuff that they do, that like real weird staccato stuff, it's still tight when they do it live. So it's like, okay, you know, they're not shit musicians. It's just a lot of it sounds the same.
Yeah, I will give you that. I will definitely concede. A lot of their songs, like it's all same tempos, same keys, same lines. A lot of it's the same kind of stuff.
Again, I want to hear David Draymond sing with like Rhapsody or something.
That would be incredible. I never even thought of that, but that would really, really be something.
Well, he does have a great voice. It's a decent range.
Yeah. He has a really good range. He can get up there.
Yeah.
Really, really get up there.
Me and John Waco have talked about David Draymond a lot, like in the past. Like John really likes him. And I was just like, you know, it was the monkey noises that really bothered me, I think, too. He overdid the monkey noises. No, they're not. They're not. They were kind of goofy. They're kind of goofy. All right. Before I go, have you ever seen the video on YouTube called "The Greatest Hit of Disturbed"?
No.
Before I leave, in your email box will be a link to this video. Okay, I'm going to do it now before I leave. It is hilarious.
Okay.
The greatest hit of Disturbed. You got to keep that in mind. It's hit, not hits.
Yeah.
It's like a compilation video of the greatest hits, like you used to see on TV like years ago.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it.